How's it going, everyone? Ryan here.
And Alex here.
And it's about that time. 2016's coming to an end.
Yep.
Most people say it's a shitty year, but for music, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, other than losing a couple of musical talents, the stuff that did come out from the people who were alive were really good.
So, we're here to do our top 10 albums of the year.
Yep, and for me anyway, I don't know for you, I'm pretty sure for you as well, it was just top 10 albums from what we got to listen to. So, that's really good for you who listened to 40 albums this year. For me, I've listened to 15 or 20.
There was still quite a lot that I didn't even listen to. So, if there was an album you liked that's not on this list, don't be a bitch.
Yeah, there's a lot that I didn't get to that I really wanted to check out. There's a lot of bands that I haven't really heard of who apparently had amazing album releases this year.
Also, this is an opinion warning. We're going to have our opinions.
Exactly.
If you don't like our opinions, don't be a dick.
Don't be a wiener and downvote the video just because you don't like the opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, before we go into this, personally I have a couple honorable mentions I want to mention. These are albums I thought were really solid, just weren't good enough to make my top 10. Those are Jom's Viking from Amon Amarth, The Holographic Principle from Epica, Broken Lines from Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, Brotherhood of the Snake from Testament, and Dust from Tremonti. You guys put out some good shit, but just didn't make my top 10.
I agree with some of that. I agree some of the shit that's in there might be on my list, but only because I haven't seen as much, plus I also enjoy some stuff.
So, I guess we can go right into this.
Oh, we have other honorable mentions too, or dishonorable mentions.
Right. Since we didn't listen to enough albums that really just sucked ass to make their own list, but we do have a couple dishonorable mentions of our least favorite albums of the year.
100%. So, I have two. One is one that we both listened to, and that's Braver Than We Are by Meatloaf.
Oh. Yep.
Now, as we said, it kind of recovered into a really weird industrial rock album halfway through, but the beginning...
The stuff that was meant to sound like Meatloaf was terrible.
Yeah, and then Meatloaf went on to say that it was his greatest work ever, and then took down all the bad reviews.
Like ours.
Yeah.
We had to re-upload that one. Thanks, Meatloaf. Still like your old shit.
Exactly. I would still do anything for love. Just not that.
Yeah. Another aging rocker that didn't really do it for me was Bob Dylan's Fallen Angels. It's got a lot of really positive reviews, and I don't know why. Bob Dylan is not a good singer. He was never a good singer. He was a good songwriter. So when he's doing someone else's stuff, like Frank Sinatra, who was known as being a singer, it just doesn't work for me, and it's just not there at all. I could not get engaged with that album at all.
Mm-hmm. On the opposite end of the spectrum, an album that I didn't like is from a young band, Baby Metal. I just didn't like their second album, and
I don't like any of their albums.
And I got a lot of negative criticism for giving Baby Metal album a bad review. It's our second or third most viewed video now, just so that people can go in and downvote it. It feels bad, man, but maybe I'm starting to realize I just don't like Baby Metal anymore. They're not for me. I'm over the initial gimmick of of Japanese schoolgirls singing metal music. So that was just my opinion. It had a couple of solid tracks, but I mean, I also gave it such bad points for the blunder of having a really shitty dubstep track inside of a really epic song that they had on the Japanese version. So I mean, it just made me feel bad, man.
And lastly, by far worst album of the year, Steven Tyler's "We're All Somewhere from Somewhere."
Somewhere from somewhere.
I don't even. I've tried to.
We're all someone from somewhere.
I've just tried to blank this album from my memory. Okay, cut me some slack. It's bad. It's incredibly bad. I don't like new modern country music as it is, and when it's one of your favorite frontmen doing it, it just makes it that much worse. The lyrics are hilariously bad at points, and just it's bad. There's nothing good about the album at all. No. Just no. Now that's enough about the bad shit. Let's talk about some good shit.
Alright, that means that we're on to number 10.
Yep.
And I have Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
I have Afraid of Heights from Billy Talent.
Nice. So I have Hardwired to Self-Destruct. You might have heard that it's by Metallica. You might have heard if you watched any of the 6 hours worth of Metallica content that we made this fall.
We kind of like Metallica.
We went a little bit overboard, maybe. We're a bit hard. But Yeah, we're a bit hardwired. I still really enjoy this album, and I still think it's one of my favorite albums of the year. I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten to as many albums as I would have liked.
It's a grower.
Yeah, it is a grower. I feel like the more I listen to it, like I was ready to discredit it, but the more I listen to it, like some songs did do a great job at sticking with me, and they're definitely great to listen to. Now, something I'd seen people saying was it's very simple, and when I think about it, yeah, it was pretty simple, but it was also pretty well done, and so I still enjoy it, and I still put it up there.
Yeah. For me, for Billy Talent, I thought that they went for a lot mature themes on this album. They showed some depth in their songwriting. Lyrically, they went a lot more political in this album, which I thought they did really well. This album kind of surprised me. I expected an okay album, and I came out really enjoying it. Some really solid tracks on it.
Alright then.
Alright.
Number 9.
Number 9. I have Dystopia from Megadeth.
I have The Serenity of Suffering from Korn.
Yeah, Dystopia. This was a good comeback for Megadeth after a fairly weak album. This Super Collider, it's a pure thrash album. It's them coming back saying, hey, this is what we do, this is what we like. They're very influenced from albums from like Rust in Peace and Peace Sells, which are their best albums. And this one came out really strong. It had some really good tracks, some really good guitar riffs, and some incredibly good solos throughout. The new additions to the band just added to their sound.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard the album very, very early on in the year. I meant to go back and listen to it again, but I never got around to it. So for me, I had Serenity of Suffering by Korn here at number 9 because I thought it was a very good Korn album. I thought it was one of the better ones that they put out in a while. I'm glad that they're having this career resurgence. I think it's great to have them back and basically almost firing on all cylinders, very much like what they were releasing in the 90s. So, and yeah, I really enjoyed a bunch of tracks off it. And it's weird that the track that I enjoyed the most is the least Korn-like song on it, because it's the Corey Taylor one.
Yeah.
I like Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
So, number 8.
Yeah.
I have Santana 4 from Santana.
Nice. I have Brotherhood of the Snake from Testament.
Yep. So, Santana 4 was an album that came from a classic rock artist that really captured this original sound of the band. Like, I felt like this album could have just come straight out of the early 70s. Santana had his original band come back for this album, some of which went off to make other really good bands, such as Journey. And they all came back for this album. You can tell that they're all having a blast with some really good songs on this album. It's really catchy, and it just really captured the sound that they were known for. Big surprise on this one. I did not expect a whole lot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I heard great things about it. So I had Testament coming up next with Brotherhood of the Snake because I'm not really a super duper huge Testament fan. I haven't listened to a lot of their old stuff, which I do want to get back to doing. But from what I heard of them here, I can tell it's that signature old school 80s thrash metal sound. From what I'm familiar with from them, that they're basically performing almost the same as they were before.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's just really cool to see, like, they're almost just like one of the last standing legacies of like that time, because even though like almost all the other bands have changed at some point and then gone back, Testament never really changed that much. So up next,
Number 7.
I have that Kvelertak album, which I'll hopefully pronounce right.
It's Natsford. I have A Bath by a black metal meme.
A Bath. So, I listened to the Kvelertak album with you when we were getting into the band. Well, you were getting into the band and I was along for the ride, basically. And I really, really liked this album. I thought it was really different. Well, their whole style in general was really different, their whole sound. But this album is similar to what I feel like Ghost did, like where it's a unique band that's up and coming, and then they're just getting better and better with every single album they put out.
Yep.
So I'm really interested to see what they're going to do next, and I hope that they might do some international touring or something. It'd be pretty cool if they got pretty big.
Yeah, and for A Bath, this was a black metal album that I absolutely enjoyed. It captured that pure black metal sound, but kind of modernized it with at least the production sound. And there's just some really good tracks on this album. Everything sounded heavy and like aggressive, but you're able to hear exactly what each instrument is doing and contributing to the songs. Whereas a lot of early black metal, the production sounds terrible, which some people argue is good for the sound, but half the time you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's going to be more accessible when bands are doing it like Abath is doing for his album. It's that way you can actually tell what's going on because people can actually appreciate the music.
Yep, like if someone, like I mentioned in my review of it, if someone came up to me and asked me what album should they listen to get into black metal, I'd give them this album because it's a good gateway drug.
You give them a bath?
Yeah, I would give them a bath.
I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just realized I have a typo on my next entry.
Uh-oh.
Number 6. Apparently mine is The Last Harry by Alter Bridge.
I have Dissociation from the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Interesting.
Yep.
So I have The Last Hero from Alter Bridge because I really like Alter Bridge, and we went to go see them in August, and that made me hype on them, and then they released a new album 2 months later, and it was a really, really good album. It very much sounds like them, but it's also kind of like a development of all their other albums, because like I listened to their first album a whole lot. So to jump up to now and listen to their last album, Fortress, and then to listen to this one, it's like they're just the same as I remember, and they didn't get stale. But they're even better now. They've just improved.
Yep.
And so I really enjoyed this album from top to bottom. I didn't find myself bored at it really through all. So.
Yep. So I have the last album from Dillinger Escape Plan with Dissociation, which is kind of their swan song for them exiting out and calling it a career. And this is probably one of, if not their best album. Like, it's incredibly strong and unique from start to finish. You can tell exactly just the musicianship and how good these musicians are at their instruments. As well, like, all the songs are completely chaotic and capture that sound, but they do it really well. And one thing with this album is, I really like Dillinger Escape Plan when they play a bit more slower, create like this creepy, eerie sound, and they do that incredibly well in some songs in this album as well.
Yeah.
It's unique. It's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Spoiler alert, I'll have it.
Alright, so number 5. I have from Kvelertak, Natisferd.
Yay. I have from Amon Amarth, Jones Viking.
So, you mentioned a lot of what I was going to say for Kvelertak, but they're really unique. They have, like, a really catchy sound for an extreme genre. Like, they have this weird fusion of, like, this classic rock and black metal that I never thought would work, but it sounds incredibly good. It's a sound that I don't hear a lot of bands doing that makes them incredibly unique, and this is a band that I think can do some really good things if they actually get caught on and people start looking into their shit.
Yeah, definitely. I end up having the Amon Amarth album on here, even though you had it in honorable mentions. Might be another result of me not getting to all the albums I wanted to, but I really, really enjoyed this album because I've been meaning to get into Amon Amarth for a long time now. I know that they're a pretty well-regarded band. So when I popped on this album and it was just pure Viking metal at its finest, I was really happy with it. And there were a couple of tracks that really stuck with me well, and I love the overall feel of it. And, you know, it's nice to have some good power metal. And they're definitely, like, some of the best at it.
Oh, yeah, I really like Amon Amarth. Like, I like that album. It was actually ranked at 11.
Nice.
So it was almost made it.
Almost.
So, number 4. What you got?
I have Magma by Gojira.
I have an album that hasn't been talked about at all, and I don't know why. And that's The Evil Divide from Death Angel. I think this is one of the strongest thrash albums of the year. Much like what you said with Testament, this is an old school thrash band that's still playing just pure thrash and coming out with some of their best material. Their last album was really good, and this one surpasses that even. It's incredibly good from start to finish. There's some incredibly fast, aggressive, heavy songs on this album.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I really like that album as well. It's one of the ones that I also listened to earlier in the year because it was out in like April, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
So, but yeah, and I had Magma on here because I definitely really enjoyed it and I wanted to have it on my top 10. It's honestly probably like a top 3 contender out of like just the best albums of the year, but this one's just kind of personal enjoyment. So I enjoyed some other stuff over it, but it's definitely an amazing album. And Gojira is another band whose stock is rising right now, and it's pretty awesome to see because really heavy.
Oh yeah.
They're really good. And they're really crazy loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Alright, so for third place.
I
have For All Kings from Anthrax.
I cheated and I have an EP. I have Popestar by Ghost.
Yep. So for Anthrax, this is one of their strongest albums that they've done in their entire career. They took everything that they did on Worship Music, which was a great comeback by the band, and turned it up to 11. There's no bad songs on this album. It keeps you engaged throughout the entire running time, and it's a pretty long album, and it was just some of the best material the band has done in quite a while. There's some very complex parts, but there's also just that classic, like, almost fun thrash sound that Anthrax is known for. And everything's just great on this album.
Sweet. Yeah, I have Pope Star because even though it's an EP, so it's kind of only like a mini sampling, especially because it was mostly covers, I loved it so much. I listened to it over and over and over again. Square Hammer is an excellent song. It's one of my favorite songs of the year. So it was great to have that one original song on there to really carry it and make it popular. And then the covers that they chose were just very appropriate for what they do. So it was one that I definitely kept on listening to over and over again throughout the year. So that's why it's so high for me.
Yep. Now our top two.
Yep, it's silver medal. I have Dissociation by Dillinger.
For my top two, I batted these around all the time. Like, even up to now, I'm still debating which one's one and which one's two. But for number two, I have Magma by Gojira. Since Magma came out, I've listened to this album a lot. It's a very different sound by the band, while remaining very similar to what they're known for. They go a lot more melodic, a lot more deeper in their lyrics and song style on this album, but they can still pound out really heavy songs, like something like Silvera. It's like the perfect album from start to finish, where they cover every style that they can do, and they perfect it at every point. There's not a single weak track on this album.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was such a strong showing, and especially like you're saying, they were doing all kinds of different stuff, but they were doing it to perfection. It's stuff like that that's raising their stocks, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just being downright impressive, and people are going to have to accept they're just really amazing at making music.
Yeah.
So I had Dillinger Escape Plan at number 2 because it got me into Dillinger Escape Plan for sure. Mm-hmm. This is another one that I listened to with you, and it just really blew me away from like what I had heard from the band before. I wasn't really digging it. I didn't really dig their genre that much. But after I listened to this, I'm like, well, this is just a ridiculously strong album. I remembered a lot of tracks off of there, and it ended up being. I never really went back and listened to it a whole lot. I listened to it a little bit, and I ended up just really enjoying it.
Now, number one.
The
best album of the year. What do you have?
We know that we have the same one, so let's just say
What do you have?
Fine. I have The Stage by Avenged
I have The
Sevenfold.
Life of Pablo by Kanye West. I have The Stage. I have The Stage.
We got Stage.
We stopped it, and we got some Stage.
Exactly.
And yeah, this album it was perfect from start to back for what Avenged Sevenfold needed to do. They completely one-upped their last album in every way imaginable. They took an approach to an album that they haven't really done, making it a lot more progressive. The songs themselves are really good. Each song stands out on its own, but together they just make this project that's really good.
Mm-hmm. I liked that they made a concept album about space. It wasn't really expected at all, especially the whole monologue at the end of the last song from our favorite science man, Neil deGrasse Tyson. But it worked so well, and the album is like a journey through space and time, even though that sounds cheesy.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Plus the way that they marketed beforehand, or lack thereof, really helped add to the excitement when it actually came out.
Exactly, even though everyone
shits on it, and I don't know why, but you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, why would they do that? They have no record sales. Record sales don't matter that much during the crapper anyway. They're supposed to make a statement.
You could tell this is an album that they wanted to make, and that's another added respect that you have for this album.
They left their old label and just kind of dicked them by just releasing the best music of their careers. Well, some of it maybe not as good as Nightmare, but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Well, honestly, that's one thing I did notice. My two favorite albums of this year are not my favorite albums by those bands.
Fair.
They're both almost flawless, but I just think that Avenged Sevenfold and Gojira, their best album is flawless. Mm-hmm. Because for Nightmare and for Mars to Sirius are just classics. I'm not sure if it's just because not enough time has really passed to see if these ones will be, but they're definite contenders.
Yeah, definitely. You always got to give it time to settle and see if it really stands up, and especially since this was just released there at the end of November.
Yep.
We're not really certain, but I feel pretty confident that this is going to be well regarded for years.
Yep.
People hopefully will understand that eventually.
Yep. And, well, there you have it.
That's a year of albums.
Stay tuned for next year when there might be music.
I don't know yet.
There may be music to be reviewed. But before that happens, make sure you check by within the next day or two for the top 10 songs of the year.
I know your top 10 songs are going to be good.
Do it.
Do it. Get some stage. I did it.